What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again, coming at you with another Summoner's War video. And in today's video, we bring you guys yet another interview from somebody that I believe needs no introduction here. Our 2022 SWC America's Cup champion, Raigeki. He's in the house. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure to have you here. I had an opportunity to meet you alongside all the amazing contestants here at the event there in New York, and I had an absolute blast. So I ain't gonna lie, man. Got a lot of stuff to cover for you. Super excited to have you on here. And if you don't mind, I don't even want to waste any time, man. I just want to get right into it here. So I guess what the biggest thing that I want to talk about, and this is something that I do generally in all of my interviews here, is I don't just want to talk about the current events or what just recently happened, but I want to give the backstory for the community here. A lot of people have seen these players come up here in the ranks when it comes to FCC, but they have no idea how long they've been playing, how long they've been competitive, and all that jazz here. So if you can fill me in, how long you've been playing the game? How did you find your way into Summon's War? Give me the backstory on you.
All right. I've been playing this game for 8 years.
Okay.
It all started in 2014. Obviously, I was still working in Hong Kong. I actually never owned a smartphone prior. And the irony of the situation is, I was looking to quit Dota 2 competitive game
Okay.
to find a more grindy game. And Summoner
Wow.
War, when it was released, it didn't really have PvP. It
Right.
was just dungeons. There's no guild wars. Like the only PvP thing about it was arena. So yeah, I was working in Hong Kong, got my first paycheck. I bought an iPhone 4S, went to
Nice.
the Apple store, and I just looked for the first like grindy chill game that I could find. And it's, oh, look at this Summoner War game. Looks like Pokemon, people taking turns and stuff. And I'm like, gave it a shot, and yeah, flash forward 8 years, I'm still playing.
Right. Right. Oh my God. You go way back there. So that's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't know. Do you remember the game called Brave Frontier? It was like a 2D scroll kind of turn-based game.
Not really. I only knew like Clash and Clash of
Clash of
Clans
Clans.
and
I played that a
yeah.
little bit. So Brave Frontier, and one of the content creators for me that played the game, randomly tried some of the source. So that's how I jumped into the game, and everything was history from here. I couldn't, it's like the gold standard of turn-based gotchas at the time there. So it was without question one of the best choices to make, and here we are, right? You and me, 8 years later. Yeah, super cool, my man. So one of the things that I want to ask as well is that obviously, when you came into the game, you obviously have a very extensive gaming background. You're a very competitive player. And again, one of the cool things we'll get into this game is, in this interview down the road is that, when it comes to what you have available versus what other people have available that you go up against, you're very limited, which is going to be super cool to talk about. But one of the things that I want to jump into is the competitive aspect of what you do. SWC, super competitive, playing at the end game there. So for you, and this may have started, from Dota or even a previous game, like what was a turning point for you to be like, you know what, like I'm just not a kind of casual player. I enjoy these games. I want to see what I can do in the end game here. Like what motivated you to be a competitive player? Move on there.
Oh, I think I was just always like born with this strive for competitiveness like in any game.
Yeah.
But like yeah, so when RTA came out for Summoner Wars, I'm like, hey, let's give it a shot and let's see how far I can push with my limited resource. And I just like, even if I don't do as well, I'm just motivated to do better for the next season. And yeah, I just kept going with that mindset.
Right, right, right. And I was gonna say here, your story is without question one of the coolest stories out there. I mean, you've obviously been a previous, America's Cup competitor. Obviously, you've been in there in the preliminaries. Tried quite a few times here. Haven't been able to get, unfortunate to move up here, but of course, you nailed it this time around. A lot of experience in your underneath your belt there to be able to kind of move up and do really good here. So maybe one thing that we can kind of ask here in this spot is like. Obviously, with your experience when it comes to ladder RTA versus tournament RTA, what are some of the crucial points, or maybe some of the big things that you learned along the way that kind of push you to where you go right now? Because again, like I said, we're going to get into it a little bit later. Your master box versus your opponent's master box, super limited. So utilizing the limited amount of resources you got to do really well here. I mean, it's unbelievable what you've been able to accomplish here. So
So I'm gonna like share a little bit about my background in SWC. So my first SWC was like in 2019, first round prelim. instantly lost. But that year I was pretty motivated. I think that year was the year where I spent the most money. Um, like I compared my runes and compared to everyone else.
Mhm.
I think I had my fastest Daphnis was around Swift 160.
Oh wow.
That's the best I can do. Like compared to this year, that's not even like Conqueror level. I
Nope.
think even Conqueror players can do much better than that. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was just really motivated to get my runes to that level. And then from that point, I got easy G3 like every season. Like I got my fundamentals. I'm looking forward to 2020 where I actually got through the prelims for the first time. But then yeah, got knocked out first round America's Cup. And like it was a pretty sad experience because I really wanted America's Cup to be like in a offline setting. Unfortunately, COVID hit,
Right.
and like a lot of outside factors affect the way you play too. It's like, oh, this is still online. A lot of production issues. So, uh, like those 2 years of losses definitely improved me as a player, even though it was pretty heartbreaking to lose like that. Um, and yeah, I just used that experience. Took a break, 2021, even though I qualified, and then this year it made it work.
Right. Right.
Everything I learned.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So, like, you were making a comment there about in 2019, runes were not where they needed to be, and now 2022, again, you're up against there, competing against the best of the best here. So, let's ask the question for the people out there that may be casual or maybe like, you know what, there's no way I can climb up there. You made it happen. In 3 years' time. Obviously, in addition to the runes that you've collected, previously before that. But can you give us an idea as far as how much time you actually spend farming on a regular basis, so that we can kind of get an idea of how much runes you can collect over the time span of about 3 years there.
Um, Nowadays, not so much because as you get older, you get less time to farm.
Sure.
But when I was really, really grinding it, maybe like 10 to 12 hours a
That's
day.
crazy. And of course now it's a whole lot easier too, because we got the auto farming and stuff like that, which
Exactly. Yeah.
everybody's been asking for quite some years. We finally got that here, so it's good to have that. It's good to have that. So now again, going back to the competitive field, one of the things that I talked with the True Rail as well was the concept of preparation. Preparation for ladder RTA is vastly different. Versus tournament. Obviously you already know what the opponents are going to do, but obviously as a G3 player, it's even more so. And especially, let's say G3 streamer as well. You're obviously putting yourself out there, showing your matches, whatnot. Everything is definitely different for you. How do you go about preparing versus your competitors? And we'll just start with that, like ladder versus tournament.
Um, I think I just still grind more ladder. Like you just have to gain the confidence to play your game the way you want.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and nerfs do play a factor. So luckily, I fought against Falling Flowers in the first round. It's his first time there, as well as Spires. I think Spires was technically one of the favorites to get to the finals,
Mm-hmm.
but I think nerfs got to him as well, even though he said it wasn't really nerfs. But like just very little things that will affect the way you play. So like I'll do I'll do like a ritual before I like many things to calm my nerves, like listen to music, just like play with the tablet they gave us a
Sure.
couple games, just stuff like that really.
Yeah. It was kind of
um
funny. I was speaking with True earlier, and he was saying that you guys you get the headphones, like earbuds plus the headphones, so you can kind of drown out the sound. But I was like, are you guys like, is it just like is it for drowning, or can you guys like listen to music or something like that? Because I could have swore I saw Big V just kind of bouncing around, jamming out there. Like,
I was doing that too. I was doing that
yeah,
too. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
you're allowed to listen to music.
Oh,
They
you
let
are.
us.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's super cool. So I mean, like I said, anything and everything to keep you, level, in your zone is good. I'm glad they allowed it. They allow you guys to do that. I'm glad they allow you to do that. So one of the cool things that I wanted to take in this particular video, again, just kind of getting to the main point here, the limited monster box and being able to utilize it at its absolute best. You're one of the few people out there that truly have demonstrated how to make the best of what you got. So if you can tell us a little bit about maybe some of the units that are like basically instrumental in your lineup. For example, Sekhmet, which everybody and their mom knows about. Just talk about your overall strategy. Maybe some of the core units that just are very very strong for you, and just give it the basis here without giving it too much for the world final people that are listening.
Well, basically, I have like just 5 to 8 core units,
Okay.
and when I mean core, I usually pick it for my first three, and then like the last two picks are just very reactionary, hard counter to my opponent. Um, yeah, against against Falling Flowers, it was a risk. I was like segment missing, it
Hmm.
happens, and like you kind of don't like try to put your feelings in it. Like segment failed 2 times for me already. Like going
Right.
into game five, I just pick it again. I'm a believer of statistics, and
Hmm.
I have a 70-30 every time running that draft,
Hmm.
and I don't think any other drafts I can do will be higher than that percentage. So like even if it happened 2 times, right? Some people might falter and resort to something less risky or whatever to play a longer game. But I'm here to win it, right? You
Right.
you play to win, and you don't play to not lose turn one. If that makes any sense.
Right, right, right. And you're in
Um,
you're in one of those positions to where, like I said, you're limited in your units. So, some of the other players out there, since they know their opponents really, really well, they know what kind of units they generally use. They know what kind of units that generally counter theirs. So you'll see sometimes the not like they'll pick certain units that you may have just so they don't have to deal with it. Whereas you don't have all of those opportunities. So essentially, you're just kind of sticking to the core and going with what works, which obviously has shown that it'll carry you. So, was there any point between Falling Flowers, Dream Josephs, or even Truewell's matches where you felt like, I had to kind of step out of my norm here, pick something that maybe I wasn't really comfortable with, or did you just feel like you stuck to the plan and that was able to secure the win for you?
yeah, not really. I think it was very smooth sailing after my first round. Yeah, everything I used, including Carlos Delfoy, I played on stream. Like I had practice with it, or yeah, WinRobo as well.
Hmm.
What gave me confidence was like even though you're limited to 30 wings a day, like there's also other streamers trying new units as well. So
Hmm.
definitely shout out to Abzy and Scribbles. Like
Yeah.
they also played a lot of games with WinRobo, and like with that you can like collect a bigger sample size to know like which units you should pick against it and not to pick against it, and then yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Great recommendations there for those of you guys that might be watching here or listening here on YouTube. Apsies was actually, one of the people that assisted me in rebooting up my account back in the day to get back into the G1 ranks. And Scribble was the first person that I heard about the double robo combination, which I was quite blown away at the fact that I didn't even realize that was a thing that people were utilizing that. Of course, it was relatively new given the fact that it just recently got buff here, but like I said, there's a couple of people in that group that definitely do a lot of experimenting, mess around with a lot of just kind of mix it up and try new things because again, their accounts are vastly different than some of the other higher competitors here that have LD and F5s all over the place here. So which is good too as well. I don't know if you thought about this as well, but one of the cool things that I really enjoyed about this SWC is that we saw a whole lot more elemental nat 5s versus just the LD fest like sometimes we see in like the legend tournaments and stuff like that. It was good to see the game at the current state being able to utilize a lot of the units that everybody can use that do really well here. So what was your overall thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean at the end of the day, LD Fest types of drafts might still be better, but I'd say I'm gonna say Big V and Druel didn't really bring out their full potential. Maybe nerves. They
Mhm.
kind of went with their comfort zone, but there's definitely a lot of strategies that could have worked if they drafted a couple more LDs.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I was gonna say, I mean, this without question, there's a couple of choices that like everybody, right? That they made it. It could have probably been the better choice, but like you said it before, the nerves and whatnot, getting into it, being able to do a live tournament, it can be super hard. I know that for me, as a former commentator for the community, that was like one of the hardest things for me to do. Being in front of the lights and having producers and directors talking to you, I was like, that was absolutely nuts. I'm really surprised that we were able to
Yeah,
get through that a few
yeah,
years
like
back.
and this might be not a popular take, but sometimes having a limited box is much better because that means your strategy is much straightforward. If
Mhm.
you have a bigger box, like you only have like how much time is the draft giving you? Like 30 seconds, 20
Mhm.
seconds. And when you're standing in front of a crowd, that 20 seconds is more like 5 seconds, right?
Yep.
So how can you possibly, think of the best draft with such a big monster box? You have like more options to consider,
Yep.
which is not necessarily a good thing, right?
Right. And
And
that's the crazy thing about it. I want to take a step back, all the way back to 2015. And I've referenced this a few times here in various videos over the course of the last 7, 8 years. I had the distinct pleasure and privilege to be able to interview Barian for the Educate and Dominate series. And, at that time, Barian was essentially the top dog, constantly getting, you know, top placing in the arena and whatnot here. And when I asked him, why are you the best? Why are you essentially, constantly getting, top dog, top prize in this spot here? Is because he made the comment about, basically putting his best units on his, best runes on the best units, and stuck with that concept here. He did not veer off and spread out his runes too thin. He focused on the core units, the same kind of concept you're utilizing when it comes to the endgame RTA, and that was what was making him successful. While he had the monster box, he had the runes to do really well, and rune up a lot of that. He wanted to make sure that his units were like at the utmost highest efficiency, and it showed. Obviously with that question, he did really good for himself. So it's kind of cool to see that concept kind of continue to go through the path here for the last 6 or 7 years. And yeah, I mean, I just, without question, it's good to see. Like I said, it's so weird because I ain't gonna lie. So I don't laugh too hard, okay? I'm fanboy a little bit for the free to play community, okay? Because again, and I think I mentioned to it on stream, it's things like this. Like I'm super happy that you won, but things like this need to happen. We haven't seen something like this since I believe 2018 America's Cup in LA, where Dreams Joseph won. And at that time, of
yeah,
course,
yeah, I
we
agree.
yeah, we haven't seen at the time. I can't confirm, but as far as the money spent for Dream Joseph, it was little to none. I can't say that he was free to play, but the amount that he spent versus what other people spent, it was outrageously low, if anything, right? So to be able to have somebody this, like I said, just use what limited resources they have to do really well, and just see it through all the way to the finals. Despite the aspect of RNG that can go both ways, it feels super good. I think it's healthy for the game, and it just goes to show that anybody and everybody, if they stick to it, if they do the farming, work on the strategy, the pick and ban, out draft, and all that stuff, they can do really well. So again, there's really nobody more deserving for you to take it down. I'm really glad that you took that one home, man. Congratulations once again.
Would you like me to disclose how much I spent? I don't mind. I'm very transparent.
Well, you know what? Again, why don't we just put it out there? I mean, you put it
Well,
out there. I'm not going to ask you.
yeah,
I'm never going
yeah,
to ask you.
yeah. I mean, I streamed for like 4 or 5 years, so like people know. Like if they watch me, like quite often, they know I'm very frugal and not much of a spender. But I think if you're competitive, you have to spend like at least some. But like,
Oh yeah.
there's like technically, if you're free to play, you're trying to be competitive. I would like. There's an argument to be made that you're actually losing money. Because
Okay.
yeah, like, but besides that, okay. So I played for almost 8 years. I've spent around 7,500 USD total, give or take.
Yeah.
Um, and like I always make this comparison. Usually, like there's a lot of newer players with the mindset that he beat me because he spent more money,
Right.
and it's like the easiest excuse to make in the world. I still use it to this day when I'm streaming.
Yeah.
Satire just because I want to rant. But like if you think about it mathematically, like let's say I spent 8,000, and then someone, my opponent, spent 100K, right?
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, if you're playing like a SWC format with pre-bans, you're only using 6 units. Assuming they're all equally ruined, and assuming we have 30 monsters each, with equal runes,
Hmm.
like technically, like you do the dividing, like 8,000 divided by 30, and then 100K divided by 30. I'll just do that real quick
Hmm.
for number six.
We like it.
8,000.
The
Yeah,
math wizard over here. I like it.
yeah.
Right now, we got somebody that's like jumping into RTA, writing this down. He
Two
says,
six
"Get ready."
seven.
Yeah.
267.
All right.
this is 3,000. So yeah, after the math, like basically I'm only using, $1,335 of my units net worth versus 100K divide by 30
Mhm.
times 6.
Yeah.
What is that? So it's like I don't know if I made my point here, but like basically, like money can only get you so far, like to an extent, and then like you spread the rune depth of an account. Like you, most of the time, you won't even draft the unit, so like that value isn't even being used.
Mhm.
But it's only this only applies to RTA. In Siege, oh yeah, you need a whale a lot. Like you need a
You're
whale.
like, you need a whale a lot. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's why I don't do Siege.
I don't blame you. I don't blame
So
you.
like, yeah, if they understand that concept, it's not really 8K versus 100K. It's only like 1K versus no, they're still spending more, like 1K versus 10K. Yeah,
There you
see,
go.
the gap closes, and there's RNG.
Yep. Oh yeah.
It's closer than you think. It's not. It's
Right. And the funny thing about
yeah,
it is, if somebody heard $7,500, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, that's absolutely insane." But if you think about, the concept of $7,500 over 8 years and the typical packs that are in the game, you spread
yeah,
that out
exactly.
evenly.
And
It's
what's I didn't get a single Nat 5 my first year of playing.
yeah,
They're like I didn't even get that many scrolls. The events kind
yep.
of sucked.
Yeah. The events did kind of suck. Sorry, comp to us, but they know that 2014 versus now,
Yeah.
they've listened, and it's night and day better. Yeah, it's crazy. But hey, we talked a little bit about Falling Flower. Let's jump into that second match there as well. Dreams Joseph, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here. I think you were the only one to get a 3-0 knockout, and it was versus Dream Joseph here. So tell us a little bit about that particular matchup here. Was it just pretty much you just had him, after the drafting was over, or do you think your RNG was in your favor here? Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in terms of RNG, I think he had more procs than me.
Yeah, I was gonna
But
say.
like, it's a very good matchup for me because Joseph is like a bruiserish, fire heavy player, and he doesn't have Oliver.
Mhm.
Neither of us has Oliver. So like, but I am more water heavy.
Yeah.
Like, if you just think about rock paper scissors, that is definitely a bad matchup for him. And I did spectate a couple games. His Daphnis was just kind of weird. It's pretty slow, but it's like tanky. So
Mhm.
like everything just worked out.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal. And of course, we can't finish off any kind of video without talking about obviously the final match, you versus True Well. What an amazing match. It was, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of the matches throughout the whole event, I mean, it was crazy. We had a lot of 3-2 matches that went up. This one ended up being 3-1 in your favor here. Tell us a little bit about your thought process there, in that match, going up against somebody that needs no introduction when it comes to spending money in this game here. What was your thoughts going into that match?
I mean, at that point, like the caster said, we were both pretty relaxed. We were very
Yeah.
happy that we secured a spot to Korea. Personally, I'm glad it was Truewell. I actually, it's like I didn't research anybody for the
Mhm.
finals. However, I researched Truewell for the prelims.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
So, it's like doing a test that you study for, and then the next test is like the similar questions.
Right.
It's like, I don't have to study as much. Yeah, he played the same style that he played at prelims. Majority of NA did like basically after the SWC NA prelims. I've listened to a lot of feedbacks from like a lot of people watching. The general consensus is there were a lot of turn 2 players, right?
Mhm.
And myself included. But the only thing I was lacking was like a Chung Pong, and then when Robo got buffed, I can play turn 1.
There you go.
So yeah, game 1 against True Whale, got him with his pants down. He wasn't expecting Nana pre-ban. It's like, oh, you're giving me a free Dominic? Yes, I'm gonna give you a free Dominic, so I can just turn 1, and it'll just never take a turn and just die. And then that was a freebie.
Yeah.
And then from there, I gained momentum, all
Right.
that good jazz.
Yeah. And I was giving credit to True where credit was due. Like he didn't just, straight up give up, when he came to the final just because he got a ticket to the World Finals. So he gave you a run for your money. And but of course you were the victor at the end of the day. So
to give credit to Truel, he got out of the bracket of death, and
yeah.
I don't think he cares about the extra 5K. So he's just being nice, just playing,
Right.
just playing regularly.
Wasn't pretty much the majority of those players, all from his guild, so everybody knows each other, right? So it was like
Yeah,
it
yeah, it's like
was
Mally in the bottom
yeah,
bracket, three
yeah, it was
Mally
pretty much
players.
yeah, it was pretty much it was tough, going up against all the guildies that wanted to know you really well. So now, of course, we have the Asia Pacific that's going to be going down this weekend, and then you guys will kind of get an idea, who you may line up against. What is the idea now as far as preparing for the World Finals? Obviously, there's a lot of people out there. Some of the competitors in this previous one that streamed or got a chance to see previous matches or whatnot here, maybe just in the in game, the ladder, whatnot. But now prepping for the World Finals, are you going to be doing anything different than how you prepped in America's Cup here, or are you going to be working with a team to kind of mimic maybe a strategy that other people are implementing to kind of practice against that, or what's your kind of overall game plan moving forward here?
Definitely a little bit of everything, but like the core thing that like whatever works for me, let's not stop doing it since
Mm-hmm.
it's still working. Obviously, going to Worlds is unfamiliar territory for me, but I'm just leaning towards self improvements. Just grind RTA, try to go to the gym, stay fit.
There you go.
Strong body, strong mind.
That's it.
Yeah, like continue the rituals that I've been doing to calm my nerves because I get stressed out a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely just keep doing myself. Hopefully, just do my best with what I got.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now let's take a step back away from the competitive aspect, and let's cater this next question to the community out there that might have been motivated now seeing uh, you move on there and be able to head on to the World Finals here. Obviously, as a end game player, but more importantly, a somebody who's a streamer, you get the opportunity to see a lot of people. They ask a lot of questions, and you provide them answers and whatnot here. But also being at the end game, you see a lot of things here. You see a lot of mistakes that other people's make here. So my question to you is essentially, in RTA, maybe what are one, two, or possibly even three of some of the common mistakes people make on a day-to-day basis here that they can essentially get away from and improve if they if they were to stop that, you know what I mean?
Um, I mean, going back a little bit, I think the only big thing holding them back is the mindset.
Mindset.
Like when people lose, they generally, their brains generally trying to find an excuse. Opponent spent more, they got lucky, got procs, and then they just move on to the next game. They don't watch the replay and actually see themselves
Right.
making the mistake. Like it never occurs to them that they made a mistake.
Right.
Even if they fix their mistake, they might still lose the game. But small things will add up. Like eventually down the line, fixing that mistake will win you more games in a larger sample size. But yeah, they
Yeah.
don't see that kind of improvement.
Yeah.
It's,
You
it's just easy to complain.
you
Basically, it's
you couldn't have said it any better here, and I will use myself as the biggest example, which my account has been coined as an account that's strong enough to be a G1 player, yet I generally end up in the C2 ranks, and it comes down to a wide variety of things, right? Not doing all my wings, not practicing enough, not learning from my mistakes and watching the things, but also not having the mental strength and fortitude to even when things are not going too well, step away and just take a look at not the RNG, but essentially take a look at what I can control, what I can improve, what can I change, because ultimately at the end of the day, that's all I can do. I could just focus on what I'm bringing to the table, and sometimes things will go my way, sometimes things will not, and not let that deteriorate what I'm trying to do. I've had so many times where I've had the perfect draft, everything go right, but he got the perfect proc to violent out of a
yeah.
thing,
You
and
can play much better than your opponent, but
right,
then they'll still win. That's
right.
that's definitely frustrating.
And then that one unit that like changed everything is the unit that tilts me off to no end. So the next match that I see it, I automatically ban it, which of course makes zero sense in that situation when you have, whatever is okay. I cannot begin to describe how many times I was
That's fair.
going.
I'm a victim of that too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm a believer in you have limited mental capacity.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'll take the L. Just don't let me play that unit. That's
yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Honestly.
I've done that so many times. It's unbelievable here. But yeah, anyways, getting back to it, RTA, I feel like over the last a few seasons, we've seen a lot of improvements that would make it what I would say fairly balanced, right? We're seeing a whole lot more regular elemental units here, outside of Oliver doing all of her things. For the most part, I say the game is at a really, really good place. Do you agree or disagree, and why is that?
There will always be something to complain about in each meta, but yeah, pretty like decently diverse this meta, aside from Oliver. But yeah, like I would say, yeah, it's pretty good. It's one of the better ones. I personally like the Wusa Lulu one, but everyone hates
Yeah.
that. But everyone has their preferences.
No.
Yeah, very diverse. If it's diverse, it's a good meta, I'd say.
Okay. Okay. And now to kind of, segue into this here, when it comes to units out there, there's a wide variety of units that we've seen just kind of come up to the ranks, most notably the Wind Rebel here as your, free to play Gianna, as Truewell coined it here in a previous interview. Um, but, again, without giving it away maybe too much, which could potentially be a good unit for you moving into the World Finals here, in your eyes, is there one unit out there that you considered underrated or overlooked that people can get a lot of value of if they have a limited box like yourself?
Underrated. I guess it's definitely the Win Robo.
Yeah.
Just not much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, I mean, outside of that,
I
yeah.
didn't really read the patch that much. Chandra is like pretty decent unit actually. If you're lacking a speed lead.
Okay.
But
So
again, there's Oliver, so
I was gonna
you
say
can't really
that
use water.
I think I believe didn't was that your match that Dreams Joseph used that against you? Or was that somebody else? Is that
Oh
Spire?
no, Joseph used it against Spires.
Spire. What was your? I mean, do you feel like the Beast Monks can even jump in RTA with those changes? I think they're more kind of Guild Wars Siege oriented, but correct me if I'm wrong there.
I think Hug is a very underrated skill, and yeah, its kit is actually pretty decent. But again, like there's Chongpeng, and it's at the end of the day, it's still very win heavy.
Yeah.
I feel so. It's just like the current meta is not favoring him, but like maybe in a right setting for SWC, Chandra might do work.
There you go. I'm hopefully, like I said, I'm hoping that we get a chance to see some people mix it up and use some unique monsters here. Again, I know that is going to be hard, especially when we're going with your strategy, which is take what you got and what has worked for you and keep it going. But you never know, right? Everyone's studying you. Everybody's studying everybody, right? So it's definitely going to have to. They're definitely gonna. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. If you guys stick with the same strategy, or if you guys mix it up and try something different on your opponents that you weren't expecting or they weren't expecting too. Um, I guess one of the last things I want to ask you here, just to kind of finish off the video, Summoners War, in my humble opinion, is in a pretty good place. A lot of cool things that we could do in the game, but more importantly, when it comes to PvP, Guild Wars Siege RTA feels really good. In your personal opinion, we've seen a lot of recommendations come from the community, the players, the influencers, and over the course of the next couple of months, we've seen a lot of changes here. Do you have anything that you would put out to comment to us right now as far as any and all changes that can be made for the betterment of the game?
I think Comtos has a lot of ideas on their list,
Hmm.
but they don't want to implement it yet.
Right.
Just so, like, as a business company, like, you don't want to give everything away instantly. You want to just like give it when people start complaining.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like I've sent a lot of quality of life changes to them. Then they made it like, but like the high to mid essence. I
Hmm.
suggested that like 5-6 years ago,
Hmm.
and they just implemented like last year or so.
Yeah.
So like so current. I mean, I've been Making a Bud told me to to wail a little before Worlds,
Hmm. Hmm.
just to pull a new unit. It's technically uh, a wise investment. I don't disagree with that. So I've basically been item shop refreshing, and sometimes I miss an mystical and LD, and I hate that so much.
Oh.
So I mean, I would suggest like they do like a filter thing, like they do with runes.
Mhm.
Like you automatically buy mysticals, LDPs. That would be amazing, but I don't know how far down the line that they'll make that adjustment. But
Yeah.
that's definitely a decent one I would like.
That'd be good. I like it. I was gonna say I don't. As far as quality of life, a lot of the things that they've, I said, implemented have been good. I'm still as a YouTuber that does so many sessions for people in the Summer Store community. I'm still I'm still looking to see like the hype when you get a new unit is absolutely exciting, but we don't get that hype. Um, if the wheel is gone, right? I'm sure you know about the wheel, right? You know about the wheel and everything like that, right? But you know, one of the things that I've been preaching about for 14 decades is having like the rainbow lightning, you know, the lightning change into regular lightning to like a rainbow, so we know when Nat 5 is coming. I mean, how cool would that be if you got rainbow lightning when doing an LD scroll? I mean, especially as a
Oh
content
yeah.
creator, I mean, that would just, it doesn't matter if you're a content creator, if you're just a regular player. I mean, you couldn't hold yourself back. Like that would just, you'd wake up everybody in the house. I mean, you just, oh man, you go
Yeah,
crazy.
definitely, definitely. Yeah.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. So come to us, you know, fix that, fix our things, and we'll be happy. We'll spend more money in the game. No big deal. Okay, Raigeki will whale out a little bit more for you. Yeah, no big deal. I get you a little bit more money. Okay.
I didn't get anything, but it's all good. I
Oh
tried.
no, no spoiler. There you go. There you go. Okay, well, do me a favor,
Spoiler.
my man.
Or did
Um,
I?
I'm not going to take up too much of your time there. I really do appreciate you coming on board and doing this video with me. If you could do me a favor, though, any last words, any piece of advice, or anything that you want to share with the community out there that might be watching this video right now?
Um, let's see. At the end of the day, Summoner Wars, as long as you have fun and continue playing, then you'll progress. And yeah, it all comes down to having fun.
There it
It
is.
is, yeah, short and sweet. Right there.
Short and sweet. I like it. I like it. All right, guys. So again, if you guys are watching this video, do me a favor, show your support, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comment section down below, you know, what you want to see from here as far as, you know, future guests or any type of prediction videos or anything like that, you know, for the upcoming few weeks here before the World Finals here. Raigeki, thank you once again for coming on board, and I'm sure we're going to be talking, you know, prior to the event here, but I wish you the absolute best when it comes to the World Finals here in 3 weeks here. Good luck to you, my man. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Anytime, man. All right, guys. That's going to be it for the video. Thank you guys so much for your support. It's your boy Childish and Raigeki with Childish Plays. Checking out. Take care, and we'll see you all in the next one. We're out.